if you're, an officer in a major 1% club and you're at a bar sitting alone, all it takes is 5 guys to surround you who just see that as a trophy.
Yep.
And, so what do you, at that point, what do you do, right?
Welcome back to the Biker Protocol channel. My name's Hollywood. I'm with Black Patch MC here in Las Vegas, and
I am Picasso with the Eagle Riders MC, also in Las Vegas.
So we're going to do a viewer question or comment or, something that someone was curious about if we touch on. But first, I need to do something. I don't know who set this up, but... That's better.
That was bugging you, huh? Yeah. I'll take that. Here, give me. I love it.
Hold on to that one.
I love it. Hold on. I got to see. There we go.
Okay. Much better. I was looking at that. I was like, this
just
can't
bugging you. All right.
I don't know. Go to mine if you don't mind. Oh, it's hard to tell, but victory hat's the last of my.
You notice the victory's on the bottom. Yeah.
Just saying. All right. So first off, I just wanted to say that unfortunately, we missed our last week's video because we had a unfortunate passing of our president, good friend, brother, family, professor, which you can see if you go to the wide, little thing there for him, but. Yeah, it was a rough couple weeks. So anyways, we're going to go to a viewer question by David Beck 9045. And I'm going to do it in the voice because that's what we do. Hey guys, I would love to hear your thoughts and protocols on when a club member is approached in order to give up colors by another club, 1% or not. I have heard so many different things, like some clubs say give them up, or our Sarge, it says Sarge, of arms. We'll get to theirs and talk about what's up. Some won't no matter what. Love to hear your thoughts and maybe some stories. Keep up the good info. I have 2 young guys riding with us, and I have them watching you. Well, terrible. We might just have AI do it. How about that?
Yeah, we might have AI.
But thanks, David, for the question, and thanks for having your guys watching it. What happens if you're confronted on that?
There's a lot of ways to look at this, right? And I think first of all, I think a lot of it has to do with, are you in an RC? Are you in an MC? Are you in a 3-patch MC? Are you in a 1% club? All of these things kind of make a little bit of a difference.
When you're saying that, is meaning the person getting the cut taken or the one taking?
That's correct,
yeah, okay.
So, I know some people in 1% clubs, you have you have a patch taken, they will usually suspend you, put you on some kind of probation, things like that. So I guess there's a lot of ways to look at this. I think a lot of it depends a lot on if you're in a 1% club, if you're in a 3-patch club, if you're in an RC. There's all these different things, even, motorcycle ministries, right? Although I don't think that happens a lot to them. It could, depending on how they're, putting their club out there. But, I think a lot of it happens with, not so much with RCs as much. I don't think I've ever heard of an RC member having his cut taken. It certainly can happen though. I mean, you're wearing patches, it can happen, right? But I think a lot of it comes down to, what type of club you are, what kind of issues you might have with other clubs, where you're at, what you're doing, what you might be saying or doing at the time. So all of these are things that can kind of contribute to getting it taken. And that leads to what happens after the fact, right? Or during the fact. So I'll kind of get to that in a second. But I think a lot of it has to do with when people have their cuts taken or even a patch taken. I think there's a lot of ways to prevent that from happening that I think a lot of people just get lazy at, and that creates the environment to where that can happen. So I'll give you an example, right? So we live here in Nevada. Nevada is a very firearm friendly state. You don't have to have a permit to own a gun out here. You can open carry. You can get a CCW, a carry concealed weapon permit, to have, to where you can carry it concealed. A lot of people I know do, myself included. We wear it in our cuts, right? But I've noticed that, my opinion on this, and I know this is a very controversial opinion, is I typically, when I am on my bike, if I'm in public, if I'm wearing my cut, I often open carry, and I carry, piece on my side. And I think, and the logic I've heard many, many times, I don't particularly agree with it, is, if you're open carrying, you're the first target. I don't think that's necessarily true. But what it can do also is diffuse situations. I think if I'm sitting down somewhere and somebody wanted to kind of start something, if they know I'm armed, it might diffuse it before it happens. So that's my school of thought. That's just my opinion. Okay. But the other thing too is that if you're going out on your bike wearing your cut, my opinion is going out publicly, if you're alone, probably not a good idea. And at least it is in our club. You shouldn't be out alone with your cut on, right? Not so much when you're like on the road, although that poses risk too. I have known people in town that have gotten pulled over on the highway by 1% clubs and having their cuts taken because they're riding alone just on a highway. And you're riding down the freeway and boom, 10 guys surround you. They pull you over and they hold you at gun or knife point and they're saying, we're taking that off you. That has happened. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. But if you're riding in numbers, that's less likely to happen. Now, if I were going, let's say, to a bar, right, especially a biker bar, I would never go out alone with my cut on. I just wouldn't. It's just not smart. Because what's going to happen is typically if somebody's going to take your cut off of you, generally it's not going to be one person. What's going to wind up usually happening is it's going to be 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people surround you. And then they're going to say, hey, we need to go talk outside, or they're going to wait for you to go outside. They're going to wait for you to get on your bike, something like that. And then that's when it's going to go down, right? It's rarely a one-on-one situation. So again, numbers help. Right. So, generally, in my opinion, if you're going to be out and you're going to a biker bar, don't do it alone if you're going to wear your cut. And this kind of gets into protocol a little bit on when you should or shouldn't wear your cut. Right. And for me personally, there are a lot of times I'm on the bike. I may not necessarily be wearing my cut. I don't know about what it's like for you, but if I'm going to, grocery store, or if I'm going to the Harley store to drop off my bike, there are just times I don't feel a need to have to wear it all the time. Right?
That's a big lesson we teach our prospects as they become members is you don't have to wear your cut everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Yes, you're proud of it. But yeah, like you said, do you need to wear it going to pick up your kids at daycare? Like, is that really necessary? I mean, what are you trying to prove there? That sort of thing.
Right. And I know a lot of 1%ers. I know a lot of officers in 1% clubs that you rarely see them wear their cuts.
Yeah.
Because they know their targets more, right?
Yeah.
Think about it, right? If you're, an officer in a major 1% club and you're at a bar sitting alone, all it takes is 5 guys to surround you who just see that as a trophy.
Yep.
And, so at that point, what do, right? You're going to go down fighting. That's an option, right? Or option B is you don't, and you just hand them your cut, in which case, now you're going to be in very bad graces with your club, but it also might result in the end result of plan A, which is you still get beat down, right?
Yeah. And
so you have to ask yourself, I don't think there's so much like a right or wrong answer to this question. It's a really important question, but it really just depends on who you are, where you are at in your club, what your affiliation level is, what kind of club you are at, and what you want to do that's when this situation arises, right?
I think nowadays it's not the olden days quotes where people would just do that and be the patch police, and because there wasn't as much of a repercussions for doing that. Now law enforcement's all over the motorcycle community, the club community. They call it coercion. I don't know. There's all sorts of other legal terms that even by just like hinting at it, they will take you down and you're in jail or dealing with the court system. So I think, and I've experienced and seen other people experience, a lot of the times you might run into those situations with like newer clubs. Being in Vegas, there's pop-up clubs every day, it seems like. And granted, yes, we are pop-up clubs as well, as we've talked about, but we've, I guess, in turn, survived the test of time in a way. So we've been around for years and we've had our tests. A lot of these clubs, not necessarily being patch police, but are kind of like checking you, making sure you're not going to just water down and do stupid stuff or cause problems, more police interaction because you're doing something stupid. So they may try to take a cut or threaten it or ask gently or, advice, so they're not coercion or any of that stuff. And to see if you're willing to just go, I've seen it. People are like, oh, okay, yeah, here's my cut. Mm-hmm. And then, well, it's better that honestly they gave it over because their club probably wouldn't have been worth it in the long run. We think, obviously we don't know that. As we were saying, we were all in the same position at one point. But also going back to how to not even be put in that situation, maybe that's a lot of political, God, it went right out of my head. But, going back to other clubs and keeping that relationship strong. So
Right.
you are well known, you're seen, they know who you are. It's not a who's this guy, we need to handle this. Obviously there's the ones with the egos and just want to get a trophy, but that's a good step with your club doing that, and you yourself being out there. And the more people that know you, the more chances are someone might try to do something like that, but then you can, I don't want to say you call out names, but maybe you have a number you can call real quick, be like, hey guys, can we handle this, in a civil way? And I'm going to call someone and they can explain whatever the situation is. Others would say, I'm sure we'll get in the comments, oh, I would just fight him for it. I'm going down till my ground, my back hits the ground, and I guess that's a way of doing it too as well.
Well, I mean, and that's certainly valid, I guess, right? But I'm always reminded. I was told this by a prominent 1%er once, is because I had a kind of a similar conversation with him about, we're just chatting.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to him, and the response I got was very interesting. He, it was something like, yeah, we hear that kind of mentality all the time. Of, well, I'll do, I'm not afraid of these guys. If somebody wants to run me off the road, well, I'm going to get into a fight and they're going to lose. Okay. And what he told me was, he goes, we hear that from time to time, and it's usually from people as they're picking their teeth up on the side of the road.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's
I know. Listen, everybody's a keyboard warrior. I get it. It's like, I get all that. But when you're really in the middle of it, it's a little different. Right?
Yeah. And we'll get the comments of the pussification of America and stuff like that. But here's the reality of things, okay? And I'm not saying I choose one way or the other, just stating what the state of our life is right now, or our time on this earth. It's no longer just getting a fist fight and then shake hands and all is good and we're all settled anymore. It's first person to pull a gun wins.
It's true.
And now you have to decide, and this is, like I said, just hearsay. I'm not making a decision on this, but are you going to be the first one to pull the gun, or are you prepared with what happens if you aren't? And even if the gun isn't pulled, are you prepared with, I think we were talking about before, the hospital bill? Because even if you hand it to that person, you're going to get it handed as well, right? So it's not
or even more than that. Let's imagine, okay, I'm painting a fictitious scenario here, okay? So, you're putting yourself in a position where harm could be coming to you very quickly, okay? You're carrying and you feel as though you're threatened for your life. Okay. You got 5 guys there standing around you and they're going to put a beat down on you because they want your cut. Okay. So now you're going to pull a gun. Somebody's going to threaten you. And let's say, God forbid, you have to use your firearm. Okay. Okay. So you can make a case that that's self-defense. Your Honor, I was surrounded by 5 guys. 3 of them had knives. They were threatening to kill me. I had to defend myself. Okay. That's great. And that might be true. But the result of that is going to be, you're going to lose your job. Yeah. Your career is gone. You will be spending time in jail. You're looking at maybe $500,000 in attorney's fees if you're lucky, right? And even with that, there's going to be a lot of long-term consequences with this, right? So these are all things you have to be aware of, right? And I'm not saying you should, again, just hand over your cut. I'm just saying you need to be aware that it's a lot more complicated. There's a lot more nuance to this than just, well, I'm just going to shoot them. Well, okay, that all might be fine. But at the end of the day,
I thought
these
you
are
were
the consequences.
Going the route of like, you have to explain to, the judge what's going on. But now here you are wearing what's considered a gang colors.
You're a gang. You're in a gang
Why did you have a gun?
Right?
Why'd you put yourself in that position?
Right.
So maybe you lose in the end anyways.
That's true too.
So,
and let's be clear, most police and most judges, in spite of the fact that they are in the world that we're in to a small degree, it is amazing how clueless they are with our culture. They don't get it. And so you have to understand that too.
The sucky thing is all this we're talking about comes down to that moment of thought of what's the next step.
Right.
So I don't, like you were saying earlier, there's no real answer, I think. It's what you're willing to do. And everyone has different levels of want, or God, again, brain fart, but everyone has different levels of how much they want to stay with this, you know what I mean? And I also, and again, I'm not making decisions or saying what I would do, but I've also had previous members say, you can just buy another cut,
Sure. If your club will allow you to after something.
True.
That's true too, right?
But and I guess it depends on what the clubs, there's some clubs that are like, you lose your cut, you're gone.
You're
Sorry,
down, you're out.
You're done. So I guess it just kind of comes down to that situation and that person. Really, I think in the end, I don't think there's. I think I always go on the side of doing it diplomatically.
Yeah, I agree.
You try to diffuse the situation. There's no reason to be getting sent to the hospital or worse over some fabric. In all honesty, I know people have, as they say, died for this and so forth. But let's be rational humans. Is it worth that? You have to ask yourself that. And then you either deal with the repercussions on either side.
Yeah,
I think that's really the only way to put it, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. And to be clear, I know people that would openly. I mean, they say it. I'll die for this cut.
Yeah.
Right. And I know some people that would be like, here you go. So it's really the gray area in between is where we're talking, right? And so. Yeah. And you're right. The cold hard reality is it's a piece of fabric, but it's sort of like a good analogy to this, like an American flag debate, right? There are some people that are like, well, we have a First Amendment. You should have the right to burn the flag, right? I get that. And there are some people who are like, well, no, you're burning the flag. It's what it represents. So it depends on how your point of view is with your affiliation with your club, how your club's policies are, how they deal with it. All of these things have to come into play, right? So this is why it's important to have these conversations.
I would say, just on that note, talk to your club. What is, if like, for example, this David and his young guys that are watching, maybe talk to them and see if they have questions about it. Because if that were to come up, if they're out, if you're allowing them, if they're prospects or whatever they are, if you're allowing them to ride with their cuts alone, and they do, what happens if something like this happens? Because I guarantee, I've been in this culture for only 15 years, I think.
Yeah, me the same.
Something like that. And in that short time, that's a really short time in my mind, I've seen it happen. You'll be tested.
Yeah.
You personally, your club, you will be tested several times, and then you'll think, oh, we're good with those guys again. But then they'll come back around,
so
2-3 years later, and go, let's see how they're doing now.
And I can speak from experience that is true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you have that talk, I mean, talk with your club and your sponsors and other members. It's not something, I mean, I don't think we should be afraid I don't think we should think the only answer is defend it till you can't breathe.
Correct. I agree. It's a gray area. Yeah.
Discuss it. And then, as you mentioned before, something like that happens. Maybe it's, there's protocol to say 911 to, other members, like you had mentioned, you send out
so we use WhatsApp for our inner club chat.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's a way, if you can't do it on the desktop version, but on your mobile version, if you're going to, like, as if you were to send a text to your group, and you hit the little paper clip, you can send a ping out to where your actual geographic location is. So if there's a problem, our club has this, and I think I mentioned this on other videos. If you have a problem in any capacity, I'm on the side of the road, I got a flat tire. I'm on the side of the road, I got pulled over by a cop. I'm in a bar and I'm not feeling like this is going to go down well. Like, whatever it is, our club policy is you send the ping out and then follow it up as soon as you can with what the emergency is.
Yeah.
So this way, everybody knows there's like an alert going on, right?
Yeah.
You send the ping out, just got pulled over by a cop, getting a ticket, I'll be out of
And then if anything, maybe you're not an officer, it gets an officer over there to diffuse the situation or talk about what's going on.
Exactly correct, yeah.
Because I've seen so many times it's just because, you stepped on someone's shoes accidentally. Yeah. And that's how far, honestly, how easy it can escalate.
It can escalate as quickly, and I've seen it with not taking your glasses off when you're shaking hands with them.
Yeah, we talked about it in a previous episode about that. Yeah,
we talked about that.
And some people just want to puff their chests, and
it's a lot of it.
Do you want to puff it bigger?
And in a future video, we're going to talk about when it's time for your club to take somebody else's cut. That's a whole other conversation, right?
That's a good one.
That's a good one. We'll have to have that conversation.
That's a whole thing. So
for sure.
Yeah, I think that covers it. I don't know. David,
no, I think that's great.
David Beck.
Thanks for writing in. It's a great question. I'm glad we got a chance to answer because it's a great topic.
So when I'm on the road, I like to document it, and the camera that I'm choosing is the Insta360. It's basically, I'd say, unlimited cameras all in one. You basically have a 360-degree field of view, and you can choose your angle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. The quality is astounding. They're easy to use. The batteries are great. The new ones even have interchangeable lenses. They are just the best for any kind of, like, if you're going on rides, if you're doing blogging, any of that stuff, it's the best camera out there. There's a reason why they're number one and so popular. So If you are interested in really getting the best video quality of your rides, please click. We have the link in the description. Click on that. It'll take you there. And there's some really cool discounts and stuff when you click that link. So please go there. Take a look at those cameras. That's the one you want. It's what we use, and definitely highly recommend it. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to this channel. Click the like, and click the notification so you get all our videos coming in, which is great. It really helps us boost this channel. And if you haven't done so, just like our reader on this one, or viewer rather, please leave a comment in the comment section about any questions you might have for us to answer about motorcycles or biker culture. We love to answer questions. So please leave it in the comments. We read every one of them, I promise you. And it really helps us to grow this channel a lot. So we're pushing on 5,000 subscribers pretty soon.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. We're really excited about that.
We're doing all right. And it's all thanks to you guys. Yeah, we really appreciate you guys watching, and keep it going.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Oh, we forgot to do our shot. We'll have to do it in the next one. We forgot our shot. We're back in the studio and we forgot everything.
I know.
Now. It's like, we'll do it.
I've been waiting how long for this shot?
I know. Well, yeah, I got some bad ones lined up. So yeah, maybe you're not going to be so happy
push it
with
off
that.
a little further.
Thanks for watching, guys. Keep the shiny side up. We'll see you on the road. Take care.
Peace.